Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. I'm so glad you're here. Another setback for these two, and I couldn't be more thrilled about it. I'm excited to talk to you about it. Thanks for being here. Honk, honk, everybody. You guys, more bad news for these two. Okay, let me explain what's going on. Do you remember when we got our lobotomy? We read Spare. If you don't worry. I very much have you covered, and you can go back and watch my whole recap of the book if you are so inclined. But okay, spare us, right? If you recall, he had some code names for some people in his book. He would talk about these people called the bee, the wasp, and the fly. And it's come out that they are the bee is Edward Young, former private secretary to the Queen. The wasp, Clive Alderton, private secretary to Charles, and the fly was Simon Case, William's former private secretary. Okay, so today we are talking about Edward Young, who, again, Harry refers to as the bee. So he dutifully served the Queen from 2004 until she passed in September of 2022. He went on to support King Charles by briefly serving as joint private secretary along His Majesty's right-hand man, Sir Clive Alderton. So basically, he stayed on to make sure there was a smooth transition. Okay, these two idiots couldn't stand the guy, right? They talked so much smack about him. They actually were nicer to him than they were the wasp and the fly, but they were still really bad about him. Harry wrote about him in Spare and said basically that, well, the three of them were, quote, taking advantage of an old lady. Can you believe that? Again, it just pisses me off to rehash it because then he's saying basically the Queen had no agency over who she talked to and she was just being led around. And no, that was not the case. You don't get to play that game. He was just mad because he wasn't getting exactly what he wanted. One of the many things that pissed me off about these two, and yes, I'm lumping her in with this because she's just as guilty as he is, they treated the Queen awfully, as we know, during her, the end of her life when she was dealing with the loss of her husband, dealing with, the medical issues, all of it. We know all of it. And then he went on in Spare and said things like that to make it seem like she was not in charge of things the way that she was. And Harry sat there and let Meghan tell her lies, and he went along with them on Oprah, so he's just as guilty as she is. So guess what? He went on and told his lies in his book, and she went along with them, so she's just as guilty as he is. But just a reminder, in this book, Harry described them as usurpers, talking about the bee, the wasp, and the fly, and said, I feared that each man felt himself to be the one and true monarch, that each was trying to take advantage of a queen in her 90s, enjoying his influential position while merely appearing to serve. What the hell were you doing, Harry? Sounds like you're describing yourself more than anyone else, because it sounds like they were there for the Queen when you were not. So, no, you can go straight to hell. So, there's so many reasons to like this Edward Young guy, but one of the main reasons I love him is because Harry points out in his book that at best, they considered Harry irrelevant, and at worst, they considered him stupid. Welcome to the club. We all think he's stupid. But why are we talking about this? Well, I'll tell you. Harry and Meghan had a big old problem with this guy, but guess what? King Charles just gave him a big honor. That's right. This is from the Daily Mail. It says Richard Eden. King Charles hands one of Harry and Meghan's biggest hate figures, Sir Edward Young, the rare honor of becoming his permanent lord in waiting. To which I say, couldn't have happened to a better couple. I love it. I love that he got a big ol' honor, as well he should. And I'm sure these two are pissed. Let's read on. Ready for the first sentence of this article? I love it so much. Stand by for flying crockery in Montecito. I can disclose that King Charles has accorded a rare honor to one of the Duke and Duchess's biggest hate figures. Hate figures is such a weird, I've never heard that before, but okay, I'm going with it. The king has appointed Sir Edward Young as his permanent lord in waiting. It means that Lord Young, who hit the headlines after clashing with Prince Harry, may represent the king at events which the monarch is unable to attend in person. Wow, I love this so much. So this prick can continue to pout and have something to write about and spare too. Spare harder. And meanwhile, they made Sir Edward Young, they gave him this prestigious position. I would also like to remind you all that Jason Knopf, he was the royal aide who helped bring out the bullying allegations against Meghan to light, that he was also given a prestigious honor. He was made a lieutenant of the Royal Victorian Order. So I love the fact that these people that they have essentially tortured are getting these recognitions and awards and everything else, while these two, I don't know what, pout in parking lots and stuff. I mean, he's always in court getting his photo made, and she's hanging out in some parking lot with some stickers all over her face. I don't know, trying to peddle stickers or whatever she's up to. So the article goes on to say His Majesty has great respect for Lord Young and is grateful for all the work he did for his mother, often under great pressure put on by Harry and Meghan. A source tells me this new honor is a reflection of that. Sir Edward, who was Queen Elizabeth's senior aide, was made a lord when he retired from royal service after 19 years. He had stayed on after her death to help smooth over the change in reign. It goes on to explain that Lord Young was considered an outstanding public servant for his work for the royal family. So my thoughts on this are good for Charles. I'm so glad he made this decision and decided to honor Lord Young with this. But also, I want to be a fly on the wall in Montecito. Not that they share the house together anymore, I don't think. But can you imagine? Ooh, nothing's ever their fault. They never take responsibility for anything. They're always the victims, right? So I feel like that would continue on, and they would just blame Lord Young for a lot of the problems, which is what he did in the book Spare. Again, Lord Young was one of the three that Harry blamed. He blamed so many people, but one of the three that he blamed for not being able to, according to him, communicate properly with the Queen, although it sounds like that was not the case, that they were trying to help with Megxit, but it was Harry and Meghan that were making everybody's lives difficult. So, of course, they have to spin it where they're the victim, so they tried to make it out like Lord Young, who, again, they called the bee, was one of the problems. I think this is great. I say honor them all. Anybody that had to do anything associated with Harry and Meghan, had to have had a rough go of it. I'd love to have tea with Lord Young. I'd like to find out how they made his life hell for that time. I'd like to find out all the ins and outs behind the scenes. I'd like to know all of it. Anyway, guys, I think this is great. And again, I still think about Jason Knopf as well. I think it's fantastic that they're honoring these people that Harry and Meghan vocally dislike so much and try to call out, and yet the family is, backing them, meaning the staff, up. I think that's fantastic. Now, if only they could get out of those NDAs talking about the staff and really show us what the hell happened, and I want to know all the details in that bullying report. That's what I'm waiting on, you guys. I hear rumblings from time to time that it's going to happen, and then I hear others saying, nah, they're trying to rise above it. They don't want to stoop to Harry and Meghan's level. I respect it, but no, I want all the juice and the dirt and the details. It is fun to watch those who did the right thing in terms of, being kind to the Queen and backing her up and supporting her through a difficult time. They were there for her. The staff, and of course William and Catherine and stuff, but it's good to see them rise through the ranks, and it's fun to watch the continued downfall of these two. Again, it couldn't happen to worse people, right? You guys, I appreciate you all so very much. I truly do. Thank you for all the love and support. I love your comments. Dying to know your comments on this one, and of course, as more news comes out, I will be discussing it. I appreciate everything. Definitely check out the merch. We got Drunk Goose Club, honk honk, everybody. We've got Recollections May Vary, Make It Make Sense, all of our favorite things. We also have Patreon. Now, I highly encourage you to check out Patreon. Lots of interesting deep dives going on over there. Again, I have stuff coming about every other day where we go into deep dives or bonus material or like behind the scenes things that I can find, behind the scenes things that are going on here at the channel. just all the good gossip. Check that out. And that's patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. I also recap Sex and the City. So I've got almost the whole series up over there. You can definitely check that out. And that's where you can become an executive producer. So now I'm going to thank my executive producers, and I want to thank everybody here for supporting the channel. A huge thank you to Linda. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you to Paige. Huge thank you to Teresa. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Shauna. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Aaron and Frank. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Ann M. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Ann H. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Glynis. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Adair Becker. Thank you to Erica. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Annette. Thank you, Barb G. Thank you to Diana. Thank you, Allison B. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Lori. Thank you to Pauline. Thank you to KT. Thank you, Jolene. Thank you, Stromboli. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Loie. Thank you, Lucy H. Thank you to Georgia. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Robin's Landing. Thank you to Helen. Thank you to Mara. Thank you, Ashley C. Thank you to Molly. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Sand Squid. Thank you to Rach. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Dee Dee. Thank you, Nina. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Domby. Thank you, Android P. Thank you to Sheena. Thank you, Aaron M. Thank you, Faye. Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Spectrum Mom. Thank you, Vanessa B. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Mimi Heathcote. Thank you, Misty. Thank you, Candy. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you to Bree. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you to Elvis Rose here on YouTube. Thank you to Lori. Thank you, Tim B. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Elisa. Thank you, Kathy with a C. Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Marianne. Thank you to Patricia. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Ridley. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, John. Thank you, Donna D. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Chewy. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, 509 Cougs. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, BJ. Thank you, Big Bad John. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Duck Barf. Your name is always funny to me. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Vicky loves her corgi. Thank you, Charisse. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Genesee. Thank you, Essie. Thank you, Lady Grandmother. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Funky Buddha. And thank you, Trish. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Kay Coffee. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Bree. Thank you, K Cubed. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Peggy. Thank you, Stragoria. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Morty, por favor. Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Salami Mommy. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Zara. Can you guys believe I ran out of namespace on the other ones? I had to start a new list here. It's just unbelievable. Thank you to everybody who has signed up to be an executive producer. If you're interested, definitely check out patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. Thank you guys for everything. Have a great day. Bye-bye.